So it's been a little while. I updated a little paper here. The singular gravitationally collapsing object principle. The principle states a gravitationally collapsing nebular cloud or star forms a singular object. So if you have an object in outer space that's gravitationally collapsing on itself, it's not going to spawn multiple objects. It's just going to slowly contract and stay that way for many hundreds of millions of years. And that process is what stellar evolution is, also known as planet formation. I had to write that principle down because I see a lot of places where astronomers, they contradict themselves. They say, well, gravitation is the strongest as well as most long-range physical force there is. That's what keeps the planets in their orbits. And I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm disagreeing with is the realization that if they are going to invoke gravity, if they are going to say objects, gravitation, and collapse, you can't do that at the same time, ignore it, and then say there's something else that happens. So if a star collapses on itself, it's not going to eject other large objects. It's just going to collapse on itself slowly. And the idea that the solar system was born from a singular nebular cloud, which then collapsed on itself and then made a whole bunch of additional objects. Well, what other force was there to force there to be extra objects? If it gravitationally collapsed, then that means it was centered on something. It could only have been centered on one thing, the sun. And the fact that there are multiple objects here, it just completely, they've debunked themselves. And that's why I had to write that principle down. I'll link it to the bottom, but there's a redo of it. It's a one-page principle. It's pretty impressive. Not really. And I also look up things still. They changed the Wikipedia page. I just wanted to point this out because it just blows me away. Look up planet on Wikipedia. It says, a planet is a large astronomical body that is neither a star nor a stellar remnant. That's exactly what a planet is. A planet is a star or a stellar remnant. The fact that Wikipedia says it can't be true. It's like you're sitting there gaslighting the hell out of everybody, and it just blows me away how they can get away with a lie that huge. And it's also funny because they say that in one hand, and then the next sentence, right off the bat, without taking a breath, there are competing scientific definitions of a planet. It's like, how can there be a competing scientific definition? If it's scientific, then it is it. That's the definition. So to have competing definition tells me they don't actually know what they're talking about. And it's obvious because in the previous sentence, they've completely shot the truth down with anti-aircraft weapons. And speaking of shooting stuff down, it blows me away how people can live in such a huge bubble. And with watching the media these days, I'm convinced that entire nations can be confused and sort of trapped inside of a huge information bubble, if you will. And that's the Russian people. They were told that they're going to be liberators in the Ukraine, that they're going to free them from the Nazis, which is really weird because if there were actual Nazis there, I think the United States government would be on them like water on rice. Anyways, that's all there really is to it with that. The singular gravitationally collapsing object principle. And for those that are new to this channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I don't make many videos very often anymore. I have a lot of other projects going on, and I'm very, very busy. But I'll still continue to make videos every now and then just to check up on how lost establishment astronomers really are. Planets are old stars. That's basically it. All right, guys, take it easy.